listening together.
So I can see lots of smiles. I will again just mute everybody just so that we can keep background noise to the minimum. Welcome back. I'm hoping that you had a good conversation in the breakout room. We're going to start our conversation by introducing our panelists. And we're going to ask each panelist to answer 2 questions. And they've been briefed before, so I'm hoping they're ready for these questions. And the first panelist we're going to ask to speak is Vernon Naidu. Vernon is sorry, let me just stop this. Vernon is the manager at the Volkswagen or VW Community Trust. And we wanted to ask, we want to hear from Vernon around why does this topic matter to you personally? And what did you hear in the breakout group around why it matters to other people? Vernon, if you could just...
Yes, I did. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I see some familiar faces there. I've learned a bit in the breakout rooms. In breakout room rather, I was with Guthrie and Terry, not Craig. So it was interesting to discover that they are involved in the space of education. Sometimes you feel like you're all alone, working for a company that does everything, but I discovered there are other companies as well. So well done to those companies and people involved in education. So just to mention why we involved as Volkswagen, I think that's a question, if I'm not mistaken, and what we are doing. Volkswagen involved in education and youth development, community health and well-being, enterprise development, yes.
That question is a bit later. Firstly, we just want to hear from you. Why does this topic matter to you personally, and what did you hear in the breakout room about why it matters to you? And then so why about VW a bit later.
Okay. So passionate about VW. So no, I'm just kidding. So yes, it matters to me. Education matters to me. A partnership with companies and education, that really matters to me. Young people I'm very passionate about. A lot of people on the group would know that. I'm passionate about young people, and especially in the space of education. So, and as I mentioned earlier, I think maybe I can meet up with Guthrie and Terry as well at some point in the future to see how we can collaborate as companies as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Vernon. So that's what we're just going to do with every panelists, is just give them a quick opportunity to share, and so that you get a sense as to what's coming, and then we will hear more about exactly what those organizations are doing. So the next person to speak is Rose de Donker, who's the principal at Patterson High School. Rose, just tell us, why does this topic matter to you so much, and what did you hear in the breakout room?
Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's important for me to be part of this discussion. I'm a relatively young principal, not in age, young as in not too long in that chair. So I'm looking forward to being part of an engagement, to see the strengthening of the ties between schools and businesses, etc. I really want to be part of this. In the breakout room, I don't know who organized those groups, but I was thrown into that group with Dr. Ron Byers, who has a long-standing arrangement with our school, and with Gillian, who's my LPF, and we had so much in common. We shared so many things, issues that's close to our heart with regards to connections between business and school. So it was quite a constructive breakout session for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose, and thank you for saying yes to being part of this conversation. Anri, who is the Provincial Head, Cape Province FNB Public Sector Banking. Why does this matter to you so much, Anri? You did spoke a little bit earlier, and what did you hear in the breakout room, if anything?
Louise, thank you. It's a privilege for me to be here. As part of my job, I look after the public sector educational space, as well as local government and a few others. So I think I'm involved with education on multiple fronts, from my own children's education right through to from a business view, and then also I believe that education is crucial for the future of our country. And any opportunity to assist and to get involved there is a golden opportunity. In the breakout room, I chatted with Tanya, and we unfortunately lost her. I think maybe load shedding kicked her out of the meeting there. I'm hoping that she's back. But interestingly enough, I think the general thread and the golden thread that ran through the discussions we had is that all of us realize how important education is to South Africa and to the prosperity of our country. And therefore, we all grasp the opportunity to get involved with both hands.
Thank you, Henri. I'm just, we had, yesterday we had a wonderful session with some of the business leaders who are involved in the program like yourself. But I think there's a kind of growing sense of urgency around, you know, if we want to take this country forward and actually achieve what we're hoping for this country, education has to be at the heart of that. And we have to figure out a way to tap into the knowledge and skills that so many people have to offer. The next person we're going to hear from, and again, this is just a very quick, why is this important to you? We will hear more from Alicia later. So Alicia Barkey from, she's the principal at Sapphire Road Primary School. Alicia. Just need to unmute yourself and then we'd love you to speak. It looks like Alicia is not able to, oh, there you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Alicia Barkey, principal of Sapphire Road Primary School. In my breakout session, we were about 3, but I actually done most of the talking. Thanks, Santi and who's the other one, I can't recall the name now, did not really get a chance to talk, but why I decided to join the session today is I believe that businesses can make a meaningful contribution in addressing the challenges that our country are faced with regards to education. What our breakout group contributed is that businesses, the one said that business starts with education, which is true. Thank you.
I keep speaking while I'm muted. Thanks, Alicia, and we'll hear more from Alicia a little bit later. The next person, panelist for today is Westerson, who's the manager at the Co-op Community Trust. And Willie, I see you, we just want to hear from you. Why does this matter to you and what did you hear in the breakout room?
Thank you, Louise, for the invitation and for this opportunity. Yes, for me, it's about more than just education or business. There's a lot of opportunities in South Africa and in the world out there, and I believe the only way to utilize and to untap those opportunities is through education and through skilled people. So to me, it's a very important and a great subject to speak about. And then I was in a group with Barbara and Megan, and both of them are involved in a business-like manner with schools and are excited about education and the development of education.
Thank you so much, Willie. And we look forward to hearing a little bit more from you later. And then the last panelist for today is Gina Jeffries. So Gina is a coach at Milestone Coaching. So Gina, why does this matter to you? Why did you show up and what did you hear in the breakout room?
Hi, Louise, thank you. So for me, the reason why this is so important is I'm a parent. I've got 2 young boys, and obviously watching them develop and realizing that there's a vast difference between the opportunities they get from an education perspective and the majority of the children in the country get, it really challenged me around how to contribute. And I think what was important for me was getting to understand that I had some kind of skills and knowledge and something that could help a principal to develop, and in that way indirectly contribute to the children in South Africa and their ability to be educated. So that was really my reason. What I kind of got, and obviously poor Gary didn't get an opportunity to really speak because I think the 2 of us spoke quite a lot, is that people, if you give them the opportunity, everyone has different reasons how and why they want to contribute to education and to young people's development. And if you give them the opportunity and the platform, they're really willing to get involved. So it doesn't matter what you bring, there's always some value to that somewhere. So that's really what I got out of our group.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gina. So we thought we'll just kind of contextualize the session a bit, and this contextualization is going to come from, just what we've seen over the last 10 years of being involved in Partners for Possibility is there's an international recognition that there has to be a much stronger collaboration between business and education. For many reasons. The education sector needs to be informed by business. Business has a lot to contribute. The future of business is dependent on what happens in education. So this is not just, this is at the United Nations, at the Sustainable Development Goal 4 level, at all of the, at the World Economic Forum. There's just this real recognition that we need to figure out a way to break down the barriers between business and education. And in South Africa, obviously, we have the National Development Plan, and that is a very clear call for cross-sector collaboration, a very clear request that business, government, civil society need to work together to address the significant issues facing South Africa, including education. So for the last 10 years, we've been involved in Partners for Possibility. We've now reached more than 1,300 schools, and we've seen what is possible when business leaders and school principals work together. Some of those people are involved on the call today and are here. And we've also been hosting nationally around the country many calls and many conversations around business and education. And we have seen from those conversations in Johannesburg and Cape Town and Durban, everywhere else we're doing it, that firstly, business has a role to play. So nobody's arguing with the fact that business has a role to play. We do think it matters how business engage, and that's one of the things that we're very careful about is that business has to engage in a spirit of service and generosity and partnership rather than trying to come and throw their weight around in education. We have seen repeatedly from many different conversations that, and our experience is when the adults commit to collaborate in a spirit of generosity and possibility, the children benefit. But it starts with us adults. Us adults have a responsibility, and it requires us to stop being so worried about who gets the brownie points and who gets the PR for whatever happens in schools, and realize that it is about the synergy that comes from working together, which we need to unlock somehow. And we've discovered that there are amazing things that are happening around the country already. And the more we put the spotlight on those amazing things, it's as if that gives birth to more. So the next time we do a business and education in PE session, our hope is that there's going to be 100 people, because every single person on this call will be inspired to bring 3 more people to the conversation. And that through doing that, people will feel this sense of camaraderie that we have certainly seen in Cape Town, a very strong sense of we know what each other are doing, we've seen the whites of the other people's eyes, we've spent time together, we've just built relationships and trust, and as a result of that, we've been able to do more. So, so this morning we're going to start by putting the spotlight on 2 organizations that are already doing some really interesting things, both in education and in other areas in PE. And we've invited Vernon and Willie to tell us what they're doing. So I can say to you, I've been to a Latasa conference in PE that Vernon, I don't know, co-sponsored, co-hosted, helped make happen, and it was an amazing experience. So I've seen Vernon on a stage. I've not been involved much else, but I'm really keen to know, latest, the story at the moment. What is VW doing in education and in PE, or in the social sector in PE, just so that we know what's happening, so that we can speak with more knowledge and more understanding. So Vernon, over to you. You've got about 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. 5 minutes too little, but I don't really need to brag that much. Most of you would have seen the newspaper articles of what else we're doing. So I'm going to just talk about where we're involved as Volkswagen. We're involved in education. 84% of our budget goes to, of my CSI budget goes to education, youth development, community health and well-being. You may have seen some of that with the field hospital we opened recently. We do enterprise development. We work with Race Corp. Some of you probably know the organization. And we also do employee volunteerism. And of course, we do the literacy conference that we have. We had our 5th one recently. Not recently, last year. Lockdown has numbed some of my brain there. So, you know, Volkswagen, we've been involved. We've been here for 70 years as Volkswagen, and we've recently invested about 12 billion Rand. I'm just going to give you a history very quickly, because often we are asked whether Volkswagen will also leave the country. So I just want to, you know, give some assurance that we will not leave the country, because we just invested about 12 billion Rand. We're also opening plants in Rwanda. We opened already assembly plants in Kenya. And last week we opened an assembly plant in Ghana. With lockdown, we were able to do that as well. So Volkswagen, we're here to stay. We do all range of things. And if you want me to, Louise, I can just go quickly through what some of the things are that we do. Is that fine? Okay.
Yes,
so in the past, you know, we've mainly funded NGOs with small amounts of money, some large amounts of money as well. A few years ago, the trustees decided to change that strategy and to rather fund their own projects, working in collaboration with NGOs. We work with Shine, we work with Rhodes University, CSD, and a whole range of Funda Wande. We've also funded some of those NGOs as well. So what we've done is we then looked at education, and we found we wanted to look at where we need to fund the most. We decided to fund in the foundation phase, and maybe even before. We have our own early childhood development school. It's called Ikwezi Lomso. It's a Montessori school, the only one in Uitenhage, all trained. All the community people working there are fully trained directresses. We have a youth center. We work with Love Life, and we got about 40,000 feet or pairs of feet that go through that center a year. So we normally paint it once a year. And then we have this. We work with Shine up until last year. We have 5 literacy centers in 5 schools, primary schools in KwaNobuhle, and we have 32 people that we employed working in those centers. We had a review last year as part of our literacy conference. Professor John Ichkison and Professor Lily Pretorius. We then decided, you know, there's a major debate about mother tongue. There's a big debate about literacy. There are lots of experts out there. So initially we were told to do literacy and education in English. That will improve. Our goal, we start there, rather, is for every grade 3 child to be functionally literate, to be able to read, comprehend, and write. So that's our goal as Volkswagen. It's a big goal. It's a challenging one. But we got, so last year we did a review, and it was just said to us, no, you should actually start helping young people with their mother tongue. So this year we've taken our 32, we call them literacy ambassadors, and we now place them in the classroom to help the teachers as assistants, not to take over the teaching, but as assistants. So that's where we're at the moment. We also offer bursaries to our employees' children. So we have them at private schools or at good schools. I can't mention all the names there because some of my other colleagues I see are here. So just in case they think I'm saying their schools are not good. So we have those schools. And then we also have bursaries. We also fund young people at varsity. We also found if it's a 3-year course, you have to always budget for 4 years. Why? Because the young people that we fund come from the rural areas. We work with REAP, based in Cape Town, and they come from as far as Tata, etc., and we fund them, and sometimes they cannot complete a course in 3 years. Like most of us, we carried a subject or two, so we do the same. We fund them for at least 4 years, and we assist them with education and tuition fees and books as well. So those are some of the things that we do. I am going to stop there. Maybe there are questions that you would like to ask me.
So, Vernon, we're gonna come back with the questions. So for now, it's just to kind of get an idea, and then we'll have a bit more of a conversation later. So that's for everybody to know what Vernon and the team at VW is doing. There's a lot happening, as you can imagine. Let's go to Willie. And we're going to hear from Willie around what the Co-op Community Trust is doing.
Thank you, Louise. Am I allowed to share my screen?
You are. I will just have to quickly make you a co-host, which I will do. And you are co-host, and that means you should now be able to share the screen.
Thank you. Right. Just to give a bit of background and history of the co-op, we are a co-op consisting of 1,600 members, commercial farmers mostly. We have about 36 trading branches throughout South Africa. The vision of the co-op is to be a leading agricultural business in Africa that ensures the profitability of our members, the development of our communities and environment on a sustainable basis. So that's where our community responsibility comes in. Our pillars of success are excellent client service, growth and development, community involvement, sustainable profitability of our members. Again, that's the connection with our community. And then about 2 years ago, the co-op founded the Co-op Community Trust, and they appointed me as manager of this trust. And we are doing social investment. That's our web page, web address is communitydevelopment.co.za for those who want to know more. Our vision is to enable empowered and prosperous communities in Africa. It's a very wide vision, and education is part of that. Our mission is to facilitate sustainable development. I just want to move this. Sustainable development of our communities, applying an asset-based approach, focusing on the next 4 key priorities. And that is socioeconomic growth, training and education, health promotion, and care of the elderly. Of course, today we are talking about training and education. And our second goal, we have 7 goals. Our second goal is to invest in education in all its levels, especially using technology-based methods for maximum impact. What we are doing, we invest in early childhood development. We invest in quality education. We assist schools to excel. And there we especially facilitating winter schools. And last year we did 2 winter schools, which I will tell you more about just now. And then also principal and school board training, and that's where we invest and partner with PFP and to develop those that aspect. And then also setting up agricultural and basic skills training centers. That's just a few photos. Early childhood development. Our winter schools, we had one in Kouga, Humansdorp, where we had 64 learners in maths and science, and it definitely had impact on their pass rates. In the Sundays River Valley, we partnered with SRCC, and we had 45 learners, I think, and they did research, and there was a definite impact on the pass rates of those matriculants. Yeah, so we do that because we are investing in our children's prosperity. We see this as investments. And when we go and ask for investors, we don't ask for donations. We ask for investors to invest in real development. Those are just some of the photos. And then principal and school board training. I don't have to tell PFP what they are doing, but we are excited to partner with PFP because it's a leadership development and principal support process. And they specialize in equipping principals with skills and knowledge to lead and change and mobilize communities around their schools. And this is basically lining up with what we also envision for education. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we can gladly come alongside and support in a small way what business are doing in education. Investing in our children's prosperity. Then also it's important to know that we are involved in farming and food security, and one of our aims is also food gardens at every school where we are involved. Those are some of those projects that we are involved with projects. That's one in Jeffries Bay, a project for children from the street where we teach basic skills. And yeah, food gardening is part of education, and it also ensures food security for our children. That's just a few of our actions and outcomes. And this is what we want to see. We want to see happy children by investing in their future. I believe we have a lot of opportunities in South Africa. We have a lot of assets which need to be developed, and we can only do that when people are trained and when they are equipped to tap into those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie. Salvan Page here from Partners for Possibility. I see Louise is off the call, but I'm sure we can continue. I'm sure she's struggling to get back. Louise, you're back. Louise, back to you.
Louise is still connecting, Selwyn. I think she's still connecting her.
You can continue.
Audio. Let's continue, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Willie and Vernon. It was great to hear exactly what VW is doing, and it's great to hear what the co-op is doing. And we wish you continued success in the work that you're doing. But also, I think it's great to hear from principals, particularly about what is happening in their space. And so today we have Rose on the call. And Rose, the Donker is the principal at Patterson High School. And Rose, over to you to tell us a bit about your school and why you think it's good for business to get involved and the positive impacts that you've experienced already. Thank you. Over to you, Rose.
So thanks so much, Selwyn. And you know, I'm sitting here and I'm so in awe of what I've heard and what I've seen about the contributions of Volkswagen and the co-op. I think it makes us as principals have more hope for the future to see the contributions made by the various businesses. So I just want to say kudos to you for doing so much for us, you know, in education. So I was looking at the questions that we were sent as principals, and one of the questions that Louise had put to us is, oh, why is it a good thing for business to get involved, you know, in education? And I've just recently read an article where it says that in our new economy, school and work is intertwined and interrelated. And I thought it's such a profound and powerful statement, because I know that our schools are, you know, are under-resourced, and I can go on about the social ills and the social challenges and all that, but I know that business can help us, you know, to sort of transfigure the experience, the school experience for the child. And that is why I feel you play such an important role. So I just want to mention a few of the ways in which business had already impacted us. And I've been in education for over 30 years. Don't try to work out my age, please. We have a number of companies actively involved at our school. I was privileged to be in the same breakout room as Dr. Ron Byers, and he has been doing amazing work at Patterson High. You know, he's brought to our school, he's brought a world of coding to our learners. So now and then when I walk through the corridors, I just see a drone fly here over past my head, and those are the kids, you know, playing with those drones, and it's amazing. And when it's the next period, they simply refuse to go because now they are flying drones in the corridors. You know, you must just imagine what that means to a child who has never ever seen something like that and be exposed to that type of world. Then we also have a number of companies like MTN that has been very instrumental in donating tablets to us, more so for our maths and science learners. Isuzu had come on board, and they had supplied us with projectors and computers as well. I'm just looking at my notes. SureTech had installed cameras for us at a reduced price. Transnet and F&B regularly supplies our young girls with, you know, with toiletry packs. And of course, we can go on and on and on and say how important this is for our young girls, because sometimes they don't come to school, you know, out of fear for stigmatization and all that. Most recently, we also had our school renovated, and we had local companies in the community coming on board. They helped with the renovations, with the tiling, with the painting and all that. And I think in that way, we had strengthened the ties with those local firms in the community. I think the one most important thing that I want to highlight to businesses here is last week we had a wonderful program at our school in celebration of Women's Day. So we ran two parallel functions, one with the girls and one with the boys, you know, and we had a very charismatic and motivational speaker coming to speak to the girls, sort of empowering them, you know, reflecting on their goals, on their purpose, on their self-worth, etc. And she brought with her a number of vouchers that she had received from another company. And we also had little cupcakes and bookmarks and all that. All those things came from companies that had sponsored the event. In the other venue, we had our boys, and I'm happy to say and proud that Sylvester Funani, who's also part of our PE4 principals, our PE4 circle, he came and spoke to our boys, reminding them about their roles, you know, in society, gender roles, how they should behave towards females, etc. And they also had the little cupcakes and the bookmarks, etc. And the whole event was so beautiful because business had, for me, I felt that business had sponsored the whole event. The girls walked out of there empowered. You know, they were reminded all the time about their self-worth, about how careers have no gender, about how they must constantly stand up and cope and fight against the scourge, which is GBV, and the boys as well. So it was a good function. For me, it was solely sponsored by business. And I think that just showed the role that business had to play, even in this important month of women. Then the next question Louise told us to look at was, you know, what do you think are the gifts that the business sector can bring to education? Now, I can tell you many gifts that I have been thinking about, because we've been learning so much as principals from our business partners in terms of time management, you know, organizational skills, decision-making, things that you people in the private sector are so used to because of your constant timelines, etc. And those are all the skills that we can learn from you as leaders. But for me, members of the business sector here in this platform. For me, the most important role that you can really play is to bring our curriculum to life. I think that is important. We can teach in the class, we can teach children content, but you are the ones that can bring that curriculum to life. I see a situation, or I envision a scenario where the curriculum and the internship, for example, are combined. Imagine a child being in a business studies classroom and being told about micro enterprises or whatever, and not knowing what is happening. And this is where the business sector can come in, arrange field trips, on-site visits, etc. Make the subject real for the kids, and then you'll be making a difference. Why I would like to see more businesses involved as a principal? Well, there's so much to imagine. You know, I'm imagining how we can not only transform the lives of our children at schools, but the community by extension. We can talk about simple things for starting a garden, helping families in need, etc., etc. In that way, you are not only transforming the lives of the children, but by extension, you are also uplifting the community. If we have, for example, on-site visits to many companies, can we imagine the child who has never been out of his comfort zone before, the child who has never been out of the house before, or just past his immediate area, what that would mean to the child. I think if businesses are more involved, we will see improvement in academic achievement. Imagine the benefits it will give to the child in terms of vocational knowledge. And imagine also, members of the business sector, that the child will become more employable. You will have a better awareness of careers once he has been exposed to what is out there in the community, in the private sector. So for me, it's important that business is involved. We can do so much together, and that is how we can change so many things in the education. Thanks, Louise. Or Selwyn, should I say? Thanks, Selwyn.
No, I see Louise is back, Rose. Back to you, Louise.
Thank you very much, everybody. So load shedding has really hit me in a very big way, completely unexpectedly. I thought I had enough juice on my battery, but I don't. So I'm not trying to find out how I can get back on track. But thank you very much for that, Rose. We asked the same question to Alicia. So let's hear from Alicia around why do you think business should get involved, and what are the gifts and contributions that business can bring to education, Alicia?
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I'm Alicia Barkey, principal of Sapphire Road Primary School. Sapphire Road Primary School is situated in Boyson Park in Port Elizabeth. We serve learners of previous disadvantaged areas. I think businesses can build better school communities. In order for us to render quality education to our previous disadvantage, to our poorer learners, we need to take care of the social ills that our learners are faced with. And as a school community, we can't do it alone. We need other stakeholders, for instance, business partners, to achieve our goals. Schools are the heartbeat of producing educated people. The learners that we educate, these are the learners, these are our future adults, and these are the people that will enter the corporate world one day. So how we educate, or the values that we install in our learners, is what they will take to the corporate world one day, and businesses will benefit. They will sow what we are reaping one day, when these kids are entering the business world. Positive impacts, Vernon can attest to it, that we do benefit from Volkswagen in a way, but not through Volkswagen, but through the Rotary Club. Our learners, they get the opportunity every year to attend leadership courses. Our grade 6 learners that are going to grade 7 for the next year, they attend these courses, and many of our children, they can't afford to go on a trip. But the Rotary Club through Vernon and Volkswagen are sponsoring our learners. They sponsor our learners. They get a weekend where they are they get to know the other learners. They get in contact with learners in all the areas in Port Elizabeth, where they interact with each other. They come back and they are with skills, equipped with skills, and that which help them with their leadership at school. And it doesn't stop there. These learners go on these leadership camps, but then the next year they are invited back again through through the Rotary Club. They are invited back again, and they are sponsored. So for these learners, it's a big opportunity. Some of them might never get exposed to such opportunities again. But not only Vernon, we also benefited a few years ago through the EduPEC program that you had, where we equipped our foundation phase educators with skills to assist them to improve reading in the foundation phase. We know reading is a big challenge in most of the schools. So that's where Volkswagen also assisted us. But through partners, when I was part of Partners for Possibilities a few years back, I was what is the word? My business partner is Leanne Petal. She is from Arkansas. But not only does the business give monetary value to the school, doesn't add monetary value at the school, but for us, it was more dealing with challenges that our like absenteeism at school as such, but which businesses are also faced with. You also do have the same problems in the business world with discipline, absenteeism of workers. So we could share, and what came out from our partnership is motivation. My business partner is I can just call her at any time throughout the year. She will come to school whenever we need motivation as a school. But business owners also, businesses in the corporate world, you also need motivation. And we share that partnership. We motivate each other. But the way we benefit is that I can call my business partner at any time to come to school whenever I feel, no, I need that motivation now, not for myself, for my staff, for the SMT, even parents, and then at any time. She is always helpful. Now recently with the pandemic that our country is faced with, our school community got sponsored through Partners for Possibility by businesses such as Food Forward and Pick Up Pay, where we got food parcels, and we know this pandemic, what it caused, and in the area that our school is situated, our learners. The need for food is still there, but at least as a school community with our partnership, we could assist our parents, our learners, with food parcels that were sponsored by Pick Up Pay and Food Forward. And our parents appreciated that so much when we delivered. And you know, it was lockdown level 5, and we were not supposed to be out in the street, but Partners for Possibility made it possible, and because we wanted to do something for our learners and our parents, we could. And the expression on the faces of our parents, it was quite what I'm not it was quite
Rewarding.
yeah, rewarding for no, but not for myself, because what we do for I don't want recognition, because we should do it with love. Everything we do at our school, we must do with love. And so there are many businesses in the past that were involved at our school that we benefited from. And just to see that gratitude on the person, on the child's face, on the parent's face, on the teacher's face, that appreciation, that opportunities that were brought to our school that some may never experience again. So for me, a school community can't function on its own. We need all the stakeholders involved, and businesses is sometimes, but the business, you as owners of business, you don't know the reality in society. Some of you sit. Owners sit in the offices behind that wall, not knowing quite what's going on in the community. But when you get out of your comfort zone and you come into these communities, you will have a better understanding of what's going on in these communities, and how your business can assist these communities. So businesses can ignite change in South Africa. Is there any question?
I'm hoping that everybody's keen to kind of engage with you, and we're going to do that later. We just want to hear from all the panelists. So we heard from Vernon and Billy and Alicia and Rose, and we have 2 more people that we want to hear from before we're going to open it up for a larger group conversation. The next person to speak is Gina Jeffries, to talk a little bit about her experience. So she has been partnered with a principal in a school in PE through the Partners for Possibility program. And just want to hear some thoughts from Gina. Gina, what have you taken away? What have you learned? What have you been challenged by? What have you gained? Why do you think more people should get involved in something like Partners for Possibility? Gina.
Sorry, I always forget I'm muted. So thanks very much, Louise. I was on PE2, which was quite a long time ago, about 2.5 years ago. And I think for me, my personal experience of being involved in the school and partnering with the principal was really to watch. You know, we had a really great connection from the outset, and what happened was we developed a really respectful partnership, and then a friendship, which was almost unexpected for me. I kind of, because it was business partnership, I kind of expected it to stay like that. But we really developed a great friendship, and I watched this wonderful principal transform, and through the freedom of being able to just have honest conversations. I think one of the things I learned the most was how many challenges principals and educators face on a day-to-day basis. And I think one of the biggest things out of our partnership was the ability for Yolanda to freely express her frustrations and to almost process some of the ideas that she had in her mind, going back to that, that wonderful thinking partnership idea that we worked on. And I think just in that processing, it helped her to really figure things out for herself, just in the conversations. For me, it was an extremely humbling time, because, I think as South Africans, we really are very opinionated about how we think the education system looks when we come into something like this. And and obviously coming from a corporate environment, it's very action orientated. You know, you've got deadlines. I was in sales at the time, and you think that you've got to come in with solutions because that's your day-to-day job. But I think what stood out for me the most was, don't come in with ideas. Don't come in thinking you have the responsibility of solving the problems. So a couple of the things that I really learned was, ask for what is needed. Listen to what people are saying instead of assuming you know how to solve somebody's problems. I think when I came into the process, because I'm actually quite an orientated person, an action-orientated person, I wanted it to be something dramatic. I suppose in my mind, I expected it to be something dramatic, you know, but I wanted it to be something sustainable. But you come in with that idea and then it turns into something quite different. So what ended up happening in our partnership was, we had thought about the specific project we needed to do, but what Yolanda really needed at the time was really business skills and leadership skills. You know, the ability to manage change that was happening in the organization, to have difficult conversations, and to really just understand the psychology, I think, behind what some of her teachers were going through. I mean, I think that for us, the biggest thing that came out of it was her ability to start becoming more strategic and plan differently. And, you know, and now in retrospect, the last time I spoke to her, she's about to retire. And the most exciting thing that came out for me was that she had said to me, you know, our process, which was 3.5 years ago, helped her to have the ability to succession plan so that she was able to empower other people around her so that when she goes, she's got people in place. And that for me, you know, I kind of in my mind thought we'd build a library or a science lab or something. But for me, I actually thought, wow, you know, we've planted some seeds there, and she has allowed other people to grow because of the skills that she's learned in the time. So I think for me, that was the most dramatic thing. I think from a business partnership perspective, why it's so important for business to be involved in schools. And Rose spoke exactly to it. You know, we are helping principals and we're indirectly helping kids because of that. But I do think if we can make the curriculum come alive, if we can expose young learners to new career opportunities, different vocations, we need to give these kids an opportunity to dream and to be able to set goals and have great plans for their lives. Because I think a lot of the time, you know, kids facing a lot of the troubles and challenges that some of our kids are facing really have lost the ability to dream. They've forgotten that there's opportunity and potential out there. And I think that's really where business has a role to play, but also for us to just remember as business partners that it's not about the grandiose things. We take a lot of our skills for granted, and sometimes it's those simple skills that we use every single day in a business environment that we can use to contribute to schools and principals to help people just do basic things better. So for me, that was really the learning experience, what I gained from it. But it was really, I walked away with a deep sense of humility for what principals and educators have to do. And I absolutely loved the experience. And I mean, I think as Jill will attest, I speak about it to people all the time. And I think through that, I'm trying really hard to make sure that other people get the opportunity and are exposed to PFP and what it offers, principals and business partners. So that's for me.
Thank you so much, Gina. That was just so wonderful to listen to you. I have one request before we hear from Anri, and that's to Willie. Willie, because I was dropped off the call, Zoom has made you the host. So if you could just reallocate or just make Selvin the host, please, then we can set up the break. Then he can help us set up the breakout groups. So if you could just, Willie, if you could just make Selvin the host, then we're gonna now go over to Anri and ask Anri to share with us what she has gained from being part of PFP, and why do you think business should be involved, just from what you've experienced yourself?
Thank you, Louise. So I had the privilege of being part of PE1, and when Jenna said PE2 was 2.5 years ago, I thought to myself, oh gosh, is it possible that it was that long ago? It feels like yesterday. For me, truly a life-changing experience. I was partnered with Trevor Dolly at Cowan High School in New Brighton. And I think the first preconception that we as business have is that we are going to come in and show schools how to operate better. And like Jenna said, that is probably the biggest mistake all of us make, because through this experience, I learned as much, if not more, than what Trevor gained from the partnership. It really challenges you to listen, to understand the problem and the challenge, rather than to come in with how you are going to fix this problem from your perspective. And only when you have given the process the time to run, and I want to warn all of the business people who are listening, you're going to get agitated. You're going to want to roll up your sleeves and start doing stuff. It's not the way the process works. You have to learn to know each other, to understand each other, to get to grips with the different reality to what you are used to. And only then can you really pinpoint and see what is at the heart of the relationship that you are in. In Cowan's particular instance, the school deals with kids who comes from abject poverty, and the community is riddled with gangsterism, with teenage pregnancy, with drug abuse. And most of these kids either live with relatives or they live in child-headed households. And what we really had to overcome there is to show these kids that there is possibility for them in the future to achieve great things. And it fitted for me so nicely with Partners for Possibility, because we really became partners in making possibilities a reality for the kids of the high school. It took an approach that at the start out I never would have considered, but as we grew in our partnership, we realized that the benefit of a beautiful alumni, and we could tap into that. And I would never forget the day that we had an assembly, and this particular school doesn't have a school hall, so you can only have assembly when the weather is good. But we had an assembly where we invited a number of alumni from Cowan High School who could come back and tell these kids, listen, I was here, I lived in the circumstances where you are living right now, and I've made it. And to me, that was just a life-changing moment to say, never lose hope. There is always a possibility for you to achieve great things. Thanks, Louise.
Sorry, I just had to try and sort something out there. Thank you so much, Anri. Oh my goodness, I get so excited to hear business leaders like Gina and Anri, and then Alicia and Rose talk about this, and Billy, and just such an amazing group of people. So, because unfortunately I can't set up the breakout rooms on my phone, so I'm hoping that Selvin's going to be able to set up breakout rooms to just create another opportunity for people to be in a small group conversation. Selvin, so if you could let me know whether you are able to do that. We
good,
just
Louise.
also want to use this opportunity. Are you all good? Are you going to be able to set people up and send them into breakout rooms? I love how we are tag teaming this. So just want to mention to people who are listening that obviously we are always looking for more people to get involved in Partners for Possibility, more business leaders. We're about to launch I think it's our 5th leadership circle in PE. Gillian is on the call. Gillian will be the learning process facilitator. She is very keen to find a few more people in PE to join that circle. So if anybody knows anybody who might be interested, or has knowledge and skills and can contribute to working with the principal, please let us know, and please make sure that we connect you to Gillian later. But for now, we're going to send you into a new breakout room. Selvin's going to set that up for us. And what we want you to do is to just in your breakout room, just share your one key takeaway from what you've heard today. So what is your takeaway? And then secondly, whether you've been inspired to go and do something as a result of being on this call. And maybe that doing is just to have one more conversation with someone in your network about how they can contribute and join this movement of business in education in PE. So Selvin, are you going to set us up, and we're going to
What's going on?
I don't know what is going on.
So what happens is Zoom has now brought you all back into the main room. It just automatically brought you all back. And now we're all together again in one big room, and we have 21 people who are all here. I'm hoping that you all had a good conversation in your breakout room. I certainly had a fantastic conversation with Barbara Yates from the Sundays River Citrus. SLCC. So we want to just now create an opportunity for anybody who wants to just share a few, maybe your final thoughts after having been part of this conversation. I am going to ask, because I can't do this on my phone, I can't mute you all. So could you just all mute yourself so that we don't have any background noise? And then when you unmute yourself, then I will know that that means that you want to say something. So just a final thought or reflection or appreciation in response to what you've heard so far. Anybody wants to say something? This is always the moment where we have to wait, and then someone's going to speak and then someone else is going to follow.
All right, let me get the ball
so
rolling.
Ron, thank you, Ron.
I'm going to throw a few pebbles in the pond. Yes, it has been said today that we need to look at bringing real world into the classroom. And it's about, just for example, bringing in robotic arms, getting the learners to understand what is happening in, with technology. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. The learners don't know anything about it. They've heard about it. To me, they should be doing it, not hearing, and it's out there. Second point I want to look at is I don't want the learners to learn science. Sorry, I got your attention. I don't want them to learn science. I want them to do science. There's a big difference between the two. And then the last card or pebble I want to throw in the pond is to say, companies should not just be, blank check, carry on. I repeat, not just making a donation, hit and run, go. I would like to challenge companies to say, listen, we need feet on the ground. And by getting people from your own company, where possible, if they could be released for a certain time, let's say, for example, a robotic arm operator who's in the field, they come from the company, get them to go along into the school. It's not just about visiting in the factories, yes, but it's also about taking that technology to the schools and using it for professional development as well. Sorry, I've said quite a bit, but I think I would invite further discussion on this offline. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ron, I just want to say that's exactly where Partners Possibility, the idea came from. It says there are so many people in business who have so much to contribute, and we have to break these boundaries, and we have to invite the, as Alicia and Rose said earlier, what a difference it makes to them when their learners actually spend time in schools where they experience. And I'm absolutely with you. We have to get kids to do science rather than learn about science. So this is a big challenge and an invitation for anybody, for all business people in PE, to stop talking but to start doing. And one of the ways to start doing, obviously, is with joining Partners Possibility. That's one way. There are many, many other ways. We are very keen to just kind of create these connections. So thanks, Ron. Anybody else want to say something? We've got about 4 minutes left. Anybody else want to say something about your experience, your takeaway, your thoughts after being on this call today? Anything that you are inspired to go and do?
Hi, Louise. My name is Nomkita Mona. I'm with the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber. So for me, this is the first time I'm getting involved in this. And I'm quite inspired because I realize that there are a number of good initiatives taking place in the city, and that we do need to replicate and maybe expand a bit more. We have membership of about 700 businesses who are members of the chamber, and I'm unsure how many of them, except for Vernon and them, who are part of programs like this. But I also think that there is a direct correlation between education and business. And I was making the example in our group just now around, if you do go to Germany, the education system is intertwined with the business. And I was making a point earlier as well to say what I've learned here as well is that education output is business input. So whatever we churn out as the education sector, business needs it to get to business. So I think it's very important that we become part of this. So it's quite exciting. So thank you for the invitation.
So I just, Nomkita, I'm kind of sitting here wanting to jump out of my skin. And I want my colleagues to just hear this. Nomkita joined this call because I went onto LinkedIn and I said, who are all the people who are in PE? And while I was looking for people in PE, someone said something really beautiful about you, Nomkita. I think she was saying you embody Nelson Mandela. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's just like, this is the kind of person. And then when I saw that you are the CEO of the chamber, I just thought we could not have asked for a better person. So I think a very big part of why we needed to arrange the session today is for you and Gillian to be connected. So Gillian, your job is to have a conversation with Nomkita and make sure that you tell her everything we've been doing and what we need to do more of, and maybe she can help us to kind of figure that one out. And we're really excited about Nomkita's joining this. So thanks, Nomkita, and thanks for that kind of commitment. We with you. Everything that you've said is so important. If we don't create these stronger links between business and education and get business to help create the kind of conditions and the environment for children to flourish, because they are our future employees, they're our future clients. They are the people that we, our businesses and our future depend on what we do in education. So we're going to call this this meeting to an end now. The conversations clearly won't stop. We will send you the recording to this. So I'm going to invite you to many other earlier to Barbara that we've just published our second book about Partners for Possibility, but the book is really a book of stories of business people, of business and education. And if anybody's interested in really being inspired out of their socks, that book is the book to read. So if you're interested, or we want to make sure we can get some books, we can get some hard copy books to PE. We obviously have it electronically as well, so we can send it to you electronically. We'd love you to read the book, be inspired, get involved, join the movement. And today is just the first conversations of many conversations going forward. So thank you.